Okay, so this pomelo is 23, so it's a pound and a half. I already sharpened the sharpened this knife right here, and then I. So just to recap real fast, this area right here, the knife is dulled out. I took a whetstone and just kind of dulled it out already before, and when I sharpened it with the steel, I sharpened the whole thing. I might have ran over here a little bit, so I dulled it again just to kind of protect my hand, because I don't really want the sharp tip when I'm using it as a. You can almost use it as a butter knife to kind of poke through the peel, and try to peel it out. So you'll see me doing that, and I'll continue playing this video. Hey, actually, I'll do it real fast, just to the whole thing can be seen again. All right, each time I cut, right, gotta get a sharp knife, sharpen this part. Make it sharp, dull this part, because I don't wanna, okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and clean it. See how it leaves a streak? I mean, it's been, okay, so let's clean that part. So I'm gonna cut this one over here. So this is cut, like, this is a little leathery, this is a little dry, you can tell. And if it was fresher, it would have probably been, and this has been outside, so we've been storing it outside. So I score 4, right? Feed it up. And then kind of just push it through with your thumb to remove the peel, and trying to prevent it from getting, it's squeezing out. But with it drier, it doesn't have that much tendency to, it's less likely you're going to get your hand all oily with the thing. So this is pretty small because it's getting pretty thick. You can compare the one I did earlier, like this one right here. Actually, no, this is the old one. So see how this a little thinner compared to thick. Okay. So, all right. So this is actually pretty good. I can see there's already a little separation. So I'm going to go ahead and put my thumb in here and just kind of just pull it apart. Right. And this is actually pretty good because it doesn't have, what do you call it? I'm pulling from the back side because I want this wedge to stay together. And that's it. I'm going to start to peel and put it away. So the thing with the knife is don't try to put it down, right? And this is because it's smaller, a pound and a half. It tend to have not, the variety we have is just less seeds, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this one right here. That's one. And then go through here, backward if you need to, flip it up. And it's drier. This one I can feel it's drier, so I'm going to cut this one and just pull it apart in the back. All right. All right. And again, just to grab this one and just pull it out. Okay. And then flick out the seed so you don't have to deal with it. If if you have a pot or a compost tray that you can just grab on, just use, it'll be ready to go. So once everything's closed, just go ahead and cut it. Right. Put this one back over. And so now as I'm doing this, right, I was just thinking about, how many times people do it, and, if this is a valuable lesson to know. It's only, if you're not going to have an orchard, or not an orchard, sorry, a tree, you probably won't be doing this very often, every day. Unless you really like it and, spend the money to buy it all the time. Maybe you're fortunate enough, I don't know about fortunate, but if you live in a country that actually has, or an area that actually has fruit that's already peeled for you, that you can buy, that would be one way to go, right? See, I'm not using my thumb. Just whatever tool that you at the disposal that's the most effective, right? What I found is the thumb, fingernail, right, is useful still. Hygienic is an issue, but this is basically that much, and I have this much to do over here too. So, and back here, the knife, pull this one apart. This is a little cool because it's been outside, and outside weather was, let's see, in California last night, it was, what was it, honey? But probably the high 40s. Yeah, it's cold. And this wedge is a little different, a little unique here. It's a little funny. I'm going to have to deal with this guy. I'm not quite sure how to deal with him. Right? So, and the goal, I think the ultimate goal is to not have juice all over your hand, right? If you could do that, see, this is not that great, right? You want to have a nice dry, because these pomelos are relatively dry. They're if you don't abuse them, you're gonna be able to peel each wedge out without getting too much water. And I think this one is just a weird section, right? And that's what you end up with. So I just dropped it, sorry. And I can just feel a squirt of juice, Pomelos juice on my face from what I just did there. So pull that apart. Again, this one is flip it over, grab it, okay. And same thing with this one, right? And you want to just pull it to the front. There you go. See, that's it. This one, immediately pull this one out. You can take this one and just pull it to the back. You can cut into the fruit, right? That means just sometimes easier just to grab it and just yank it like this. And that way you have a nice back, the back side is kind of clean. And the idea there is so that you can do this. Now, I was thinking about, remember what we started talking about, is it worth it to do this and learning and stuff like that? I guess, well, if you're going to buy 1 or 2 a season, because depending on the size you buy, right? If you buy from Costco, I think I saw Pomelos for 6 in a bag, 10 pounds for like $10. So they're like 90 cents. So they're like probably £1.50 because they're 6, right? In that bag. So a pound, a little bit more than £1.50. So they'll probably be this size that you're going to be cutting, and hopefully they're seedless, so you don't have to deal with it. But you can take it and pry it apart, similar to this, so you can learn how to cut it instead of cutting it down like a grapefruit, where eating this thing right here, it's a little tough, and because it's not as juicy, it's not going to come out on a spoon as well. You can do other styles. There are methods that they cut down in like radius, and then you kind of peel it apart. So right now I'm trying to get everything out so I can weigh it, because that's one of the things I do. I just want to be able to say, oh, okay, this is still 50%. But this is tough. This one is like tiny little wedges. If I was to do it and I'm trying to rush, this would be going to the compost or to chickens. Because one, I frankly have a lot. I mean, not to brag or anything, but because, our history with, not history, but what my dad did for us 7 years ago. He put in 10. 5 one variety, 5 the other. This is one of the variety that's round. It's not as it's not oval shaped, or actually not oval shaped. What is it? Bell shaped. I think it's called bell shaped, right? The bottom actually is a little elongated. When I say the bottom, I think I'm thinking the wrong side of the plant. I think the side with the attachment is the top, right? I'm not sure. This is 5. Alright, so that is 15, so it's about 10 ounce, and I can't remember how it was. I have to look at the video. But this is the fruit that we have. So this is the first one. This is the first one we did. Second one, hopefully you can see it. And it does take time. It's not like something you can just whip out, apple, wash it, cut it in half, and eat it. So it's not something that most people would probably want to deal with, right? So I don't think Pomelos is going to take off, but probably a good thing, because if it takes off, man, the price of it's going to go even higher. So right now, some people, if it's fresher, I think you can actually take it and candy this. Actually, you can probably candy it now. I have no idea. You just wedge it. I don't know how to candy instead of wasting it. And there's a dish that you can braise this, so it becomes like something you can eat, right? I mean, my sister potpourri turned this into potpourri, so it actually smells good because it has a really good aromatic. The oil in it smells really good. It's I have some orange here. I have some tangerine here. Tangerine has a smell, but it doesn't smell. This is pretty old. It doesn't leave that oil. See how it's dry? But you look at this one, it's kind of glisten, right? See how this is dry? And there's really any smell. I think that whatever odor I'm smelling is probably the remnants of my hand dealing with this guy onto this one. Because this one has a really nice aromatic to it. So you can, I guess, try to get essential oils out of it. But anyway, that's pomelo. So how did I gave away the rest. But most of the one we, gave away are the bigger ones. Parents, friends, and parents and families. They're like 3-pounders. And the smaller ones, 2-pounders, and are the one I usually cut. And I can show, I think we have some. Let me see here. Still 3 pounders left. Large. They're all outside. I didn't wash it. So this is just, I'm not sure you can see it. So this is the larger ones, right? This is the probably 3 pound, and this is the 2 pounder. So I'm going to weigh this real fast. This is really dirty. Ew. So let's see what this looks like. All right, so that is, yeah, 48 ounces, 3 pounds. So it's a little light now because, it's been out and it probably lost, I would say, a little bit. So that's 3 pounds. This is probably a little bit over 2. So right there, okay, so it's 3, a little bit closer on the heavier side. So this one. I think. Okay, so this is 2, 2.5-ish, 3, right? And these are all, you can tell that they're older. And when they're on a tree, you can actually leave this on a tree. That's probably the best place to store it when I found out, how to store this thing. If you don't, then you can just put it on a wire rack like what we did. See how this indentations, that's how dry it went so far already. That's how much moisture it lost. But you can have the thing saved for, oh gosh, moved it around a few times. Apparently they haven't moved this one around that much. And this one, let's see, did we move around? No, not move around, but it's been sitting there. I think we picked this maybe, it fell on the ground actually, high wind, and it just dropped off. Because usually when I pick it, I leave the branch on it when I cut it. But this thing is so easy to pick right now. Mom made this little contraption with, I just screwed up, what is it, a 2, maybe 3-gallon bucket, potting bucket onto a pole. A wooden pole, and you just poke it and it comes, just push it a little bit and it snaps right off essentially, and it just drops it in and you pick it up. So it's a little bigger, so you're probably going to have to get a special tool or whatever, apple picker to try to pick it, but that's it. You just push it one at a time though. And then trying to get the clip over here is a little harder because we have a little a fruit picker that actually can clip and then it'll hold the bottom. And then you can grab the fruit down with it. But then because of all the branches and everything, the way it's growing, you just, unless you got a clean shot to one, you're not going to be able to pick it that easily. So the higher ones are always going to get poked in life like this. The lower one, where it's eye level, you can actually cut it nicely, or arm level, reach level. And then these are, I can tell this one's a bell shape, right? This is the same tree actually. I'm not sure of the same tree because there's 3 of them that actually produce quite a lot. But this is probably toward the bottom if I remember. And this is more bell. Like, see how when I'm saying bell, I'm not even sure if I'm using the right term, but it's kind of like elongated. I'm gonna wash this one because it's kind of nasty. It's been down the tree. We don't get a lot of rain here, so the dust is gonna collect. And this thing feels oily. You can feel like there's like an oil hand on it. See how it's kind of sticking the dirt with the oil on your hand. So I'm gonna wash this real fast. Anyway, that is the Pomelo. So I guess in the next year, what I'll do is try to get it cleaner, right? So right when it starts to, like, the fruit is really ripening, when it's ripe, you can tell, like, the glaze, it starts to become a little oily. It's like drying out basically. And I mean, if this thing is fully ripe, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to look to see how these trees should be maintained. Like, do we try to pick everything off, and let the tree fruit, or try to store this on the tree so that we can maximize the like how long we can use it for? Because once you pick it, what I found is that I thought originally, maybe it's the way we store it because we left it outside, but my mom said that she can actually store it for a few months, right? In I guess a cool, dark place, I guess, if you have that. But if you put it out on a wire rack outside, right, or put it on a praying table. That's where we had ours. And praying table is actually right in front under our sun type of deal. And I'm thinking it was a month before we thought that 5-pounder was gonna not be edible, but it was still edible. It wasn't bad, but it was a month that we had it there, and it looked really dried out. But the flesh was still good. So we thought, leave it in a tree, how to store this thing. We're talking months, right? We started eating the thing originally I thought it was early October. No, it was like more like toward the end of October that we had this. So it was basically the whole month of November, December, January. We're mid-February now. So we probably can have this until March. So you have 4 months worth of eating. If you were to try to push it out further, like we were going to try to put some in the fridge, but you're going to take up a lot of fridge space for this fruit. But you can have it outside for about 4 months. If you were to try to squeeze it, you can extend it probably a little longer. I'm not 100% sure. But we still have right now on the tree, and it's beginning to blossom now. And the aromatics on the blossom is incredible too. It's actually really good when you walk by. I guess if you're allergic to that, you might not like it, but it's really good. So down there's 3 trees. I think we noticed one about 2 weeks ago already blossoming. It's already forming buds, and it's about this big. So I'm like maybe half an inch wide, and I went in there and actively just kind of culled some because I have pictures, and there were like just every single bud came out, every single flower. They had like one, and then that was just too many. There's no way that branch is going to handle, even a 2-pounder or a 1-pounder for that matter. So you got to go, and it's going to naturally drop off. But you don't want to waste. The problem with not letting it naturally drop off is that you might pick the wrong one, and that one's going to end up dropping off. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the magic formula is and how to do that. I have to research some more. But but when you look at maintaining this stuff, right, maintaining the tree itself, my dad's already trimming. He just goes in there and wants to make it look nice. His theory is I need to be able to walk under it. And that's a good theory too. You don't want to be hunching and just working around it. But at the same time, I was telling Dad, hey, I want to learn how to air layer, so I want to leave these branches that are down on it. But he's going to do what he wants to do, which is great. He's helping, and I got to be really appreciative because he are the reason why we have these pomelos. History of it is he air layered one. I believe he air layered one from his friend. I'm not sure if he bought it, but he definitely got one in the tree in his yard. And then when I bought this place, and he basically started to air layer, started learning how to air layer, and he air layered 5 from one variety and 5 from another. So we had 10 trees here that are pomelos, but one of it's not too good. The one that shapes like this, a little longer. It's really small. Actually, do I have some here? I do. They're like this. This is just dropped off. See how it looks really sharp at the one end? This is the one, and this is like probably tiny. There's probably nothing in here, just because the tree is so small. But anyway, that variety versus this one, rounder one. This variety is not doing too well. The tree is maybe 6 feet tall. Now, if that, gosh, it's probably less than that. But these trees over here are probably reaching close to 20, and the reason why they're not is because they keep on breaking off. With the higher branches that form a lot of these, they just fall down and break off. We've had 2-3 instances already. Almost every single year I've had large branches just fall off. So I have to learn how to maintain them, learn how to, I guess, select which one to keep, right? So you can have the best looking fruit and the best fruit is in general. You have to learn how to water and develop watering systems a little more effectively. So we don't, burn through the couple $100. Actually, I think our highest water bill is probably $200 a month for water bill. In California, we pay a lot for water, but this is the result. And usually we try to use gray water from showers and stuff like that. But then that's a whole new topic. It goes through a system to clean it and filter it. But the fruit and the maintenance portion, right? That's something that we need to learn. I want to learn how to air layer too. What's the best way? My dad showed me and taught me how to do it, and we tried some last year. It wasn't successful, at least on the loganberries. There was a few stranded roots when we tested it out on the citrus. Maybe the citrus is easier to form, but we definitely didn't have enough to actually feel confident that we can cut it off and stick it in the ground and have that branch become a tree. So my dad, he did it before. Just last year, he got hurt, he got injured, so he said his hands doesn't have enough strength to try to carve out all the cambium. So I'm thinking of a way to try to make it easier for him to do it without using knives. A straight knife on a round thing, you're not gonna ever get everything. You got to use some kind of round knife to try to maximize the scraping area as you're going down, right? So gotta look on the net to see if there's anything with it that we can buy. If there are, then I'll buy it. It's just easier. If someone already came up with a design and the process and the usage, I'll just buy that and see if that. But if they're not, then I'm gonna have to try to come up with something like this, modified knife. This is something really easy, right? You just dull this side, basically. I mean, when it comes down to it, you just take this one and just put it against a whetstone and just kind of dull it. And when I try to score it and sharpen it, I keep this part sharp, but then this part is dull, so it doesn't hurt myself, right, when I'm pushing through. And that's the whole idea, So learning how to get things done better and why we do it, right? If you're only going to cut a few of these, you might as well try to figure out how to do it. You're not going to have the practice to try to improve and learn on your own. Go on YouTube, find some best way to do it. But I don't know. The search phase is kind of like irks me the wrong way sometimes because people just mislabel it. They'll label things that are just to try to get drive more content or more viewers to it, and then you find out, man, that's just half-assed way of doing it, and that's a disappointment. But you get to evaluate, and you can look at the number of hits. Some of the hits are good indicators. Some of them are clueless. Like I commented on one of them that has the cutting it like a grapefruit style. Right, you cut it all out, you cut the edge out, you cut everything. Basically, you use the knife a lot, and you end up trying to wedge it out, cut it, and push it out. I was like, okay, or cut it on both sides and try to wedge it out. I was like, I just don't see that happening. I mean, that's just not how, I guess, traditionally you would eat this food. I guess the word is traditional, right, how it is done. And I usually prefer videos that are more like fruit vendors for cutting fruits, because these guys should know what they're doing, because, again, they do this all day long. The goal there is try to learn as much as you can without having to, I guess, for lack of a better word, you don't want to have to go through the school of hard knocks, right? If there's somebody that's willing to show you how to do something, you should definitely pay attention and watch it. Now, I'm just taking this example, right? This is just fruit cutting. It's a pretty silly thing to do, right? But it's just something I was doing, and I wanted to learn how to do it better, and I just say, hey, what's the method? So driving deeper into like why I'm even taking the time is like I want to leave something to like sons, for example, and say, hey, how do you learn how to do something better, right? What is the method? What is the way to do it? And obviously there's a certain formula, but a big component of it, what I found, is that you need to be willing to be open-minded. You need to know where to look. You need to be able to assess that this is going to make sense or not, and you need to be able to practice, right, and then put into good things. And you need to be able to be adaptive enough to say, hey, I need to look for better tools, or I need to look for even a better method. And then, I appreciate my opinion is always about, hey, these parents of ours that have gone through it, they've got experience that you definitely want to pay attention to. You need to be appreciative of them. If nothing else, in the Asian community, you appreciate your elders, right? There's lessons to learn, and there's wisdoms to try to glean off of them. You want